Yeah, 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 yeah. Living in Babylon, huh? Stay safe though, you know what I mean? Yeah, stay safe, straight up, straight up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All my niggas with me. You know we rollin', rollin'. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bitch, don't nothing come free. Pay me what you owe me, Yeah, yeah, yeah. All my niggas with me. You know we rollin', rollin'. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bitch, don't nothing come free. Pay me what you owe me, Yeah, yeah, yeah. These niggas full of buffoonery. Try me, they gon' read your eulogy. Gemini, you know it's two of me. Niggas don't know what to do with me. Alien, I feel immortalized. Only protected, we fortified. Nigga, you die, play with Mordecai. Lay in the ditch if you play with me. So as we know, the Alabama season is right upon us, very close, very near. Now, one, you keeping a close eye on the QB situation. Who will be the QB1? I'm gonna get into some Ryan Grubb presser into a Ryan Grubb presser, also a Kane Walmack presser today. And I really want to take a deep dive into the QB battle, but other matters at hand as well. But if we're talking about the QB1 situation, will it be Austin Mack or Keelan Russell? Most people have given the edge to Keelan Russell, but at the end of the day, it is still a true competition. Ryan Grubb did say they're close to crowning a QB1, so it's going to be very interesting to see which direction it goes. But like I said, I want to do a deep dive into it. We're coming close, coming close. You damn near want to have your starting quarterback right now to really get them in the groove and rhythm. ECU is right around the way. So we're talking about close decision. When will the decision be made? I would assume it will be made probably Friday after the scrimmage. I would assume so because, like I say, you wanna figure out who your QB1 is so he can really build that chemistry and cohesion with the offense. Ryan Coleman Williams, my fault, but he's been having a great preseason training camp. He's stepping up. We know how important, how pivotal this season is for him. Instead of really kind of like he's really rebranding himself, so to speak. Had a real down year last year. You know it. I know it. But at the end of the day, he can redeem himself. Can he raise his draft capital, draft stock? So a lot of questions to be asked. The defense will be legitimate. The defense will be elite. I believe we will have the best secondary in the nation. Like I said, I'm going to get into some video articles we got to hit up. We're going to get into it, man. But what will the identity of Alabama be, right? What will the identity be is the main question. Whatever you want to say, EJ Crowell will be ready for the season. You know, AK Deer is out. Might be for a quite while as well. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he recovers quickly and swiftly. But that sucks. Injuries suck in general. AK Deer, a solid running back, ready to make a point, have a breakout season this year. Explosive, fast, physical as well. Another year of development in the system, in the weight room, nutrition plan, etc. So definitely high expectations for AK Deer, but now who steps up? EJ Crowell, Trayshawn, right? Daniel Hill, of course. Will it be a true running back by committee? It's a lot of talent in the running back room. You talk about Alabama across the board, right? Their roster in general, roster on paper, but we know what's on paper, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. How do you produce? How do you play on the field, right? Do you turn up on the field when they get real? So you can look as talented as you want on paper. Does that talent on the paper really translate to the field? That starts with who? Coaching, etc. A lot of questions about Bama for sure, but I think a lot of them will get answered real soon. So let's just go ahead and dive and get into it. I want to break down Kane Walmack's presser first, since his is the most recent and newest one. Give me 1 second here. And as I watch the videos, I'm gonna be diving into some articles as well. But the defense, very excited about the defense. The secondary we know about, but the trenches, I expect a lot from the trenches from Bama of Bama this year, no doubt. You know, here we go.
And you're not as good as you'd like to be, then you're probably going to want to see this. What I've just dropped inside of here is my Laser Strike cartridge, which goes with the entire Laser Strike system. Not only does this.
All right. What have you seen from Xavier Griffin so far? Is there a target hitting?
Xavier Griffin, Zay's doing a really good job. You know, he's it's hard to play the linebacker position, and we're asking him.
And he just asked him the question about Xavier Griffin. As we know, Xavier Griffin, freshman, might be ready to play right now. Definitely look forward to seeing him in the rotation. We got monsters up front already. Yanze Pierre, to name a great one. London Simmons, etc. Terrence Mean Green. The list goes on. Justin Hill, etc. But Xavier Griffin, a freshman who is about to hit the scene in a major way. Here we go.
To do multiple things in that room. He has value as a pass rusher. You know, he did that for most of his high school career. And then what was really cool is his senior year, he got to play, you know, as a stack backer and took his game really to another level. And so Chuck Morrell's done a fantastic job with him. I came in here, you know, whatever it was, 6 a.m. this morning, and they're meeting, you know, one-on-one, spending time. So we're working to get him ready. I think he's going to have a role for us this year. He's doing a really nice job. You said like a weight, ideal weight. I think he's like maybe 223, 224 right now.
So 223, 224, you know, built like a, what do they say, gorilla? You want to say gorilla, whatever. Any muscular animal, huge animal you want to mention. But he gained what, about 10 pounds the off season, maybe more. But he's one of the guys who put on weight. Now watch how that weight carries. He's still fast, still athletic, still nimble, strong, etc. You understand me? Here we go. Roll Tide for the pride. Roll Tide.
Love for him to be north of 225, and if he's at north of 225, we feel pretty good about that.
How would you assess inside linebacker competition right now?
I think those guys are doing a really good job. You know, I think it. You know, I've told you guys this before. You know, Chuck Morrell does a fantastic job of just the relentless detail that it takes to play that.
He asked him about the linebacker room, a linebacking room, core, whatever you want to call it, is very athletic, physical, big, etc. A lot of talent in the linebacker room as well. So when you talk about talent all over this roster, literally talent all over this roster. How have they developed that talent? Will they have that talent prepared to play at the highest level possible and reach that maximum potential, right? Will the execution on the field be damn near perfect? It should be. Hell, we're talking about year 3. 3 years in for Walmack, 3 years in for Kalen DeBoer, K-Dog. Ryan Grubb, 2 years in, but he coached at the highest level in the NFL for Seattle. So things should start looking smooth, but it starts and ends with what? The running game. You know it. I know it. But defense still wins games. Defense definitely still wins championships. You hear me? Here we go, man. Let's get back to
that position. You know, spends time with those guys year round, meets with them year round, and gets guys ready to go, whether it's a freshman or a transfer portal guy. And so, you know, we've got both are good examples. You got Xavier Griffin, right, coming in. You've got Caleb Woodson, right, and both those guys have done a really good job to put themselves in position to play. I'm impressed with that group. I mean, I think Luke Metz has taken his game to another level. I think you see a lot from Abdul Sanders and QB Reese. And
3, 2, 1, go.
Caden Jones is doing some nice things. Duke Johnson.
So we could really be here and be seeing a real linebacker rotation. Talking maybe 4 to 5 linebackers playing in the rotation, but that's a benefit. Now, how will they handle it? It's yet to be seen. But you talk about real plus, real benefit. When you have a rotation like that, a talented rotation like that, guys you can depend on, rely on to come in and do their job. but have the talent to do their job, to want to do their job as well. That goes a long way, man, for real. Here we go. Roll Tide. Very excited about Luke Metz and QB Reese, as he mentioned, Abdul Sanders, and a few more. But you can never have enough depth.
These guys are all going to have a role for us. It's just kind of at some point, right? You got to say, okay, here's the two deep, and you know, let those guys ride and see what happens in games. But it's a little bit easier now when when you're playing with a D line up front that holds their gap responsibility, does their job at a much higher level.
What he said, D line up front, the first line of protection, first line of defense, offense or defense, whichever you're speaking about. It starts with the trenches, baby, the trenches. And now they have a really solidified group in the middle and outside. I've been saying it all offseason, damn near. Yanze Pierre will have the most sacks in college football. I stand on that 10 toes down. We go. But the trenches, man, where the games are won. We saw what happened to Bama in the trenches versus Indiana. Beat up, banged up, smacked around. I don't care about none of the factors that were going on. Bottom line is you got smacked around in primetime lights. That is not the standard for real. It's okay, dog. Bitch, yeah. Don't worry about Smith talking and Feinbaum talking. Worry about what's going on inside the building, right? What the relationships are inside the building. And K-Dog spoke about it already. We know what's going on. ESPN can say whatever the hell they want. Matter of fact, I believe Feinbaum disrespected again. So I got to break him down, check him again. He talking about Bama be what, 9-3, something like that. But it's cool. It's cool. Let them sleep. We're going to wake their ass up quickly and swiftly.
You see those guys starting to play with more confidence.
Do you feel like we could see like a continued rotation at that position?
We always rotate a little bit. I would love to have, once you get going, right, you kind of have four main guys that you see mainly in the rotation, and then some auxiliary positions that you may see from a couple of guys as well mixed in there. But typically we've always had 3 or 4 main backers that to begin the season are going to take the majority of the snaps.
What do you think? What can you tell us about Steve Bola-Boumla?
What?
On the defensive line, like his progress.
Steve?
Bola-Boumla?
Yeah. I think, Steve has a pretty unique skill set. His strength, athleticism, the physicality that he can play the game with, he brings a lot to the table, especially when you think about big personnel packages. Asking an offensive lineman to go one-on-one with him that's a hard ask, and so I think he's doing a nice job.
Look like Bama got some real dogs up front this year. Some dogs, new dogs, and dogs who've been there, right? Dog sharpen dog. Let's get it, man.
Of being able to play the fundamentals of the position. I think he's got to continue to take steps in the right direction of just knowing what to do consistently, and that ultimately will define how many snaps he takes and in what situations.
In that same vein, do you have a rotation plan for the interior of the defensive line? Do you want to keep starters? And kind of, what does that look like in terms of the amount of pieces?
We've always rotated guys in the defensive line. You want to keep guys fresh, as the game's going on, and so you got to be mindful of rotating them early. I think we have some guys right now that we feel confident that can go in the rotation. You love to have what you would call multiple starter level players, right? That you feel like when the 1s and the 2s go in, there's not much of a drop off.
Yep.
In the past, certainly that's been the case. But we definitely have taken a step in the right direction there.
What have you seen from Jira over these 2 weeks, and what do you see in the next few weeks for him?
Jira is one of the most instinctive playmakers I've ever seen coming out of high school. Very physical. He's got phenomenal tracking of the ball.
And I want to dive into some article talk as well while we listen to Kane Walmack. So we're going to flip over a real quick transition. Here we go. 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Hold up. So hold on 1 second. Let's get it. But like I said, I want to dive into the article and just see where Bama is really at in this whole QB1 battle per se, right? Man, Alabama held its first preseason scrimmage last Thursday, which feels like a lifetime ago, to offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. Thinking back to the game like practice at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Grubb shared his thoughts on Austin Mack and Keelan Russell's play and how the two quarterbacks who are battling for the starting job have responded since. 1 second. 2 tip picks were the low point, Grubb said, and I'm going to get into what Grubb had to say later in the whole video breakdown, but I just want to attack this right quick, this whole QB1 situation dilemma, if you want to call it a dilemma. I thought that they built momentum after the first couple series. First 2 series were just kind of honestly just clumsy initially. Operationally, we weren't very good, and that affected how we were executing some plays, and it was quarterback driven. So they must lock in right there, man. You know, a few weeks away from the season, it's time to bring everything in, get everything together. So once we got them over that, we moved the ball effectively, I think 4 straight drives. So that was encouraging to see them pop themselves out of a hole, especially when it happened quick. But the last 2 practices have been 2 of our best days. Not maybe, they definitely have been. I thought we really have built on some packages there the last couple of days and had a really nice, just got done with the great move the ball session. Had a touchdown and a field goal with the ones on 2 drives, which was awesome. Alabama did not release stats for the scrimmage, and it wasn't open to the public, but sources said Mack threw 3 touchdowns and an interception in the first scrimmage, and Russell threw 1 touchdown to junior wide receiver Ryan Coleman-Williams and an interception. And Ryan Coleman-Williams has been having a phenomenal training camp. Massive season for him. He must step up. He must make up for what he didn't do last year. But that shows you right there. Now you got Austin Mack, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, not bad numbers, but you want to subtract the pick every time. Then Russell, 1 touchdown, I believe, no picks. Oh, he saw 1 touchdown and an interception. So who would you say won the day in that scrimmage? You would have to say Austin Mack, right? I mean, if we're talking about strictly on numbers and on-field play, which it was a close scrimmage. But as far as stats go, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Russell, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So this battle was never a given. We're talking about a real competition here, not some trumped up lie. No, this is a real battle. Whoever wins it will have to earn it. That's why you respect it even more. Here we go. 1 second here. Scrimmage feedback can often be misleading because the team works on certain situations. Those who attended the practice gave the upper hand to Russell, the sophomore, but the Tide has yet to name a starter. Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer has routinely said that after the second scrimmage is the ideal time. How close is a decision from Grubb's point of view? And like I said earlier, I believe this scrimmage coming up on Thursday, yeah, they will make a decision after that. Get a real glimpse of who is the man after that. Period, bro. We're close, Grubb said. I mean, we're getting close to game week. So I would say by next week, we'll have to make that call. Alabama will kick off its 2026 season in 19 days. Only 19 days, man. Roll Tide. Roll damn Tide. Ain't nothing rolling but the Tide. Here we go. In 19 days on Saturday, September 5th, players will soon move out of the dorms and preparation for the opener against East Carolina will ramp up. The quarterbacks know a decision is coming and they have bounced back from a down part of preseason camp. Grubb praised their mentality following Crimson Tide's the Crimson Tide's 10th practice. I said in the meeting room the other day, I think we hit a lull as it was kind of like the look around phase, like what's going on right now. And I think they got through that. Now, Grubb said they broke through that with the scrimmage. I've always coached quarterbacks to be playing with blinders on, just focus on you, the things you need to improve. And I think we lost sight of that a little bit for a few practices. And it happens, right? You know, want to call it mental lapses, want to call it whatever, fatigue, whatever you may say. How do you bounce back? How do you respond? And do you clean it up and learn from the mistake and try not to make it happen again? But they got to put that behind them now. It's a totally different ball game now, right? Just like every play, good or bad, put it behind you, focus on the next one, lock in on the next one, right? Bring your best on the next one. And that's it. He goes to say, but I'm really, really impressed, especially today, on some move the ball situations where both guys were able to just hone in on things they need to do better and didn't get stuck when it didn't go perfect. And we're able to keep us moving, and we're able to keep us moving. So we're getting there. And it's all a process. You got a second-year quarterback, really a redshirt junior quarterback, has experience, but real-time game time experience the past 2 years, no. So it's definitely going to be a real transition, going to take some bumps and bruises, etc. Be some mistakes here and there, some hiccups, but once again, like I said, how do you respond? And do you get better? And majority of the time, who's making the least mistakes and who's playing the better ball, period. This is not rocket science. This is football. So Kalen DeBoer, K-Dog, Ryan Grubb, it shouldn't be a hard decision to make. It's an important decision to make, but it shouldn't be hard at all, especially if they know what they're looking for out this QB1, you know? Here we go. Let's get back to it. Matter of fact, hold up. We're gonna that's that with the article. Get back to Grubb.
His blitz IQ and awareness is really high, and so he can create production, you know, out of that package as well. But really for him,
Well, I know it ain't, huh? You rang Hu Yang. You rang Hu Yang. No Ed and Eddie tonight, Hu Yang. You hear? Here we go. For real.
It's about putting the whole thing together. Jaira's going to play for us, but how much does he play for us early in the season, and in what situations, right? Those are the question marks that we've really kind of challenged him of, like, can you put everything together that we can throw you out there on any given down? And he's still working towards that.
Coach wanting 3 to 4 guys in the inside linebacker spot. How close do you think you are to nailing?
Simply peel off the adhesive backing and attach it to the bottom of the door. It fits perfectly into the door seat.
Down kind of 3 to 4 that you want that rotation.
We're pretty close. Yeah. We're in a pretty good spot there in terms of knowing what we're going to.
So he just asked him about the rotation of the linebacker room, I believe, right? Linebacking core. So another spot. Who are your guys? Who are your guys? Who are your 1s, your 2s, and your 3s? At this point, it's time to start putting players into position, building that real chemistry, man, at every position across the board. So Kane Walmack said, hey, they're pretty close to making a decision about the linebacking core. Here we go.
Get out of guys. You know, we've got a scrimmage here on Thursday, and then we start kind of turning our attention right to getting into some teamwork, but some more personnel groupings that we've got to get ready for against our offense.
And this scrimmage coming up Thursday will be very important.
And then you start moving into scout work and all that. And so I told the guys, this is a really big week. Decisions are going to be made in my mind about who takes the field against East Carolina based off of what you do this week. Tell the guys, I'm a human stock market, right? You know what I mean? Like, stock is up, stock is down, but there's a line that I'm going to draw of guys that we trust to go do their job at a high level that I feel like we can go put.
Like I just said, exactly. This scrimmage will tell it all. This scrimmage will solve all your so-called questions with the QB1 situation, the defense, the linebacker situation, whoever, whatever position you may name. You will know your starters, your backups after the scrimmage. I guarantee it. It's time to start really getting everything in order now, setting up your schemes, getting your plays in, learning your personnel even more. Shit, getting ready to go win a game.
In the first game, pretty much regardless of the situation or time on the clock or score, any of that kind of stuff. And so we'll ride with those guys. Doesn't mean that can't change as the season goes on. Doesn't mean that we can't add pieces to the puzzle as the season goes on, which we most certainly are going to have to do. But coming out of this Thursday, I have a pretty good idea of who we're going to be and who we're going to ride with.
Coach DeBoer talked after the scrimmage, giving credit to your D-line, and then Coach Grubb yesterday said he wasn't fully satisfied with the offensive line. How do you evaluate your D-line, especially through the lens of going against a group that's developing?
Yeah, I think Adrian Klum's doing a really nice job with that group. There's a physicality that they are playing with, and I think between them and the tight end room, the running backs and some of the young guys in that room as well are doing a good job of setting the tone. And so there's some things that they're bringing to the table that present challenges for us. So it's really good to be able to see some of those things. Our offense has a lot that they can do and a lot of things that they go to. And so we're challenged in a number of ways schematically as well. So, I feel like we're seeing good looks and we're seeing some things that put us in tough situations that we got to go find a way to execute and win. But I think, from our defensive line standpoint, we do have a little bit more experience in that room right now. And I think we've got some maturity in that room that tends to be showing up. The ability to line up and play some base defense has not really been something that I've had in my tool bag, for the last couple of years, right? On a consistent basis, right? We've kind of had to move and stem and all that stuff. And I've talked to you guys about that already before. I do think, we're in a better position right now to line up and play base technique along with a number of other things that we're going to do.
We haven't talked to you since Thursday. What did you think of the scrimmage? Like, how pleased were you with the defense?
So, one thing that I thought was really impressive, and the thing that I was most excited about from the scrimmage was just the energy from our sideline. We had almost a little bit of a rotation when you came off the field. If you had played multiple snaps, go to the coolers for a minute, sit down, try to lower your body temperature. Everybody else, right, you're on the juice squad. So I thought our guys did a really good job of bringing energy early. They kept it throughout the scrimmage and even in the finish. And that was something that I think I mentioned to you guys maybe last Tuesday.
And that's very important. Consistency. I'm sure he will mention consistency, but showing aggression, showing effort, maximum execution for 4 quarters, even through fatigue, attrition, whatever. Being consistent, a consistently violent team, aggressive team, physical team, right? Disciplined team.
We had that period at the end of practice where we didn't really do a good job of responding to adversity in a goal line period. And then we came back out and didn't address it well enough on the field. And that felt eerily similar to some experiences that we had in the past, right? And so we made sure, right, like, hey guys, don't worry about install, don't worry about next walkthrough, whatever. Let's make sure we address this. And those guys did a phenomenal job of taking it and running with it. And then they've been the exact same way every day we've come out to practice. So the energy, the passion that they're creating for themselves right now always is the marking and a making of a good defense. And to me, that's as good as it's been.
You got any buy low candidates on your defense?
I'm sorry?
You got any buy low stock candidates on your defense?
Oh, I said I use the stock market term very loosely. Right? I'm a football coach, so I don't know what buy low means.
Low bet. You get them for low value, they explode up.
Oh, there you go. Great. All right. You learn something new every day. Okay. I think, yes. I think we've got some guys that are doing a really good job. I mean, nowadays, right, there's a certain level of value, right, that you have to play this game with, that you have to build a roster with, right? You got to play a little bit. I love the movie Moneyball. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's you got to play a little bit of Moneyball, right? And so you got to create value and depth with some really good pieces of the puzzle. And I think that always comes down to development, and that's the one thing that I think we do an elite job here. From our athletic director all the way down, we provide great resources provide great opportunities to develop. And so I think we're doing, a nice job there. Thanks.
Development still important. Recruiting still important. I don't care what nobody talking about. NIL this, transfer portal that. Develop and recruiting is still important. Here we go.
Guys, roll tide.
Roll Tide. Shout out Kane Walmack. And I'm gonna get back into an article right quick. Now, like we heard Kane Walmack say, Alabama is very close to figuring out its linebacker rotation. You understand me? Which is very important. It's time to get a lot of things figured out. Matter of fact, so we pretty much basically what he just said in the presser, some of the things you may not have heard per se. Basically saying, I think those guys are doing a really good job. Walmack said, I've told you guys this before. Chuck Morrell does a fantastic job of just the relentless detail it takes to play that position. Spends time with those guys year round. Meets with them and gets guys ready to go, whether it's a freshman or a transfer portal guy. We've got both. Hold on. Good examples are Xavier Griffin coming in, and Caleb Woodson. And both those guys have done a really good job to put themselves in position to play. I'm impressed with that group. I think Luke Metz has taken his game to another level. I think you see a lot from Abdul Sanders, QB Reese, Caden Jones is doing some nice things. Duke Johnson, those guys are all going to have a role for us. So the talent is definitely there. And a decision will be made soon. Don't have to reread that. Pretty much heard it just then. Now I want to get into some Ryan Coleman Williams having an unbelievable camp. Great news for him. Definitely a important year for him after the year he had last year. It was a down season. Can't deny that. Can he make up for it this year? You're damn right. Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb waited for one final question after Monday's preseason practice, and the expression on his face suggests it was worth it. The Crimson Tide play caller was asked about Alabama wide receiver Ryan Coleman Williams. Grubb proceeded to recap the end of practice 10 with a smile. The first team offense orchestrated an 80-yard drive, and while the OC didn't reveal which quarterback was leading the ones, he did share that Coleman Williams was on the receiving end of a practice-ending touchdown. Shout out to him. Unbelievable catch, Grubb said. Enough said. So Ryan Coleman Williams understands it is time to step up. Coleman Williams is fresh off an impressive scrimmage performance as well. Those who were in attendance raved over the play of the Tide's junior wide receiver who hauled in a touchdown at Bryant-Denny Stadium last Thursday. There were also no reports or any drop passes, something Coleman Williams is looking to eliminate after an up and down 2025 season. One right second. The latest to praise the Alabama wideout was Grubb, who had a glowing review on Monday. He is the latest to commend Coleman Williams for the dedicated approach to his offseason prep. He's having an unbelievable camp, Grubb said. Lucky to coach the kid. He is just an absolute wonder. Man, he's been a guy that's just been unbelievable. His growth as a person, player, his preparation has been second to nobody on this football team. He comes in here like during the summer. There was no time off. Guys go home for May. He's right here catching balls on the jugs, all the stuff. Shout out him for putting in the work. The talent is there. Is he ready? Does he prepare? How has he prepared, so to say? Now I'm going to dive into this Ryan Grubb presser. 1 second here. See what we got here.
between the 2024, the 2025, and the 2026. One of the biggest problems with the 2024 was that it only had
Two-part question for you,
Yeah.
Coach. To what extent do you buy into the theory that it's good to target bigger receivers in the red zone because there's more traffic, less separation to be had? And tied to that, is that something that Cedarian Morgan, as the big guy in that receiver room, could bring to the team?
Yep. I think there's always different places for different routes, and certainly it depends on defensive structure. But if you get one-on-one matchups where you need to throw the back of the end zone, high ball, on in-cut return stuff, on zone throws, stuff like that, certainly good to have big targets. And but the zone guys, the savvy players are just as important. So we've always carried all those different concepts in our bag, so to speak, so that you can utilize whoever's running the best. And so Cedarian, Derek Meadows certainly both fit that bill down there.
What did you see from the quarterbacks in Thursday's scrimmage?
Thursday scrimmage. Oh my God, like a lifetime ago. 2 tip picks were the low point. I thought that they built momentum after the first couple of series. First 2 series we were just kind of honestly just clumsy initially. Operationally we weren't very good, and that affected how we were executing some plays, and it was quarterback driven. So once we got them over that, we moved the ball effectively. I think 4 straight drives, so that was encouraging to see them pop themselves out of a hole, especially when it happened quick. But the last 2 practices have been 2 of our best days. Not maybe, they definitely have been. So I thought we really have built on some packages there the last couple of days, and had a really nice, just got done with a great move the ball session. Had a touchdown and a field goal with the ones on 2 drives, which was awesome.
How close is the decision?
We're close. I mean, we're getting close to game week, so I would say, by next week we'll have to make that call.
How have you seen the offensive line?
Like you said, next week got to make the call. So whichever quarterback produces and plays well in this next coming up scrimmage, he will be the man. I guarantee you. Ain't no way around it now. Even Kane Walmack said it. The season right around the corner. They got to make a decision pretty much right now. But whoever performs the best in this Thursday's scrimmage will be QB1. Here we go.
Line progressed the most from where they started at the beginning of the spring until now?
Well, I'd probably locate more with the ones. I thought in the last 2 days, we've really kind of finalized our run game package, got all of our gap scheme in, so we're able to expand some of the things that we didn't do in the scrimmage, and really took advantage of all those. And when they're able to put everything together with the ones, I thought they gelled really, really well today, and ran the ball really well, probably the best we have all camp, honestly, especially today. It was hot, a couple long drives starting on the 20, went all the way down the field. So it was really, really good to see. Super encouraged after today.
What has Mal given you at left guard?
Toughness, physicality, and intelligence.
What about Trayshawn at running back?
Man, really, really good empty cut vision, meaning when he gets into a hole, blind cut defenders, he can see and feel that next guy. Very good anticipatory skills, great out of the backfield. Much better pass protector than people would think. They think because he's short, but he plays down the middle of defenders. He got good feet, and he's a smart kid. So impressive young player.
Do you have a health update on EJ?
EJ's doing great. Sooner than later, he'll be back. Definitely not season ending. Fully expect him to be ready for the first football game.
Were you pleased with how the offensive line communicated in Thursday's scrimmage?
No, not initially, but again, I put that back on the quarterback. I think there's too much confusion on, the onset of the football play. When you start to play, you have confusion to start, it's going to be really tough. And one of the things that we improved on, I thought, far too often in the scrimmage, we were getting up to the line of scrimmage, and we just weren't taking the line, getting set, and forcing the defense to be set, make our call and move. And we're doing it the opposite. We're milling around, letting them move around, and creating indecision. So I thought, sometimes the guys just need to see it and feel it, and now I really feel like they've started to bring that to life a little bit.
You just said that you didn't expect EJ to miss any time, but given missing games,
yeah.
But given the time that he's missed in fall and spring,
yeah.
What do you expect out of him early?
Well, we don't know. I mean, to be honest, we don't know. I mean, I know he's a really, really tough kid. That's all I've seen from him, and he absolutely loves football. He's been all-in kind of guy. Just super impressed with him. So, I'm very optimistic that we're going to be able to get him ready to play and have him out there.
As a decision comes closer.
A lot of talent in the running back room. EJ Cruel, another factor, could be another factor early. Only a freshman, but size, stature, maturity at that age already. Yes, expect big things from EJ Cruel, especially with AK Deer being injured, how long will he be out, etc. So it's time for him to grow up expeditiously and produce at a high level.
Quarterback. Have you seen those guys?
I mean, that's what you come to Bama for, correct? To play in the big games, bright lights, step up, have an opportunity to be a starter. Oh, yeah.
Have they changed their mentality on?
You know, I'd say like this. I said in the meeting room the other day. I think we hit a lull as it was kind of like the look around phase, like what's going on right now. And I think they got through that now. They broke through that with the scrimmage. And I feel like, you know, always coach quarterbacks to be playing with blinders on, just focus on you, the things you need to improve. And I think we lost sight of that a little bit for a few practices, and been really, really impressed, you know, especially today on some move the ball situations where both guys were able to just hone in on the things they need to do better. And didn't get stuck when it didn't go perfect, and were able to keep us moving. So we're getting there.
You and Caleb both talked about the offense kind of starting slow in scrimmage. What do you want to see change in the second scrimmage?
Just clean operation. You know, you want to feel like you get out there in the East Carolina game that, you know, you just give your guys a chance to play. You know, and that's where you want to be able to conceptually and schematically, all the things, you know, what do they run well? What are they doing well? What can they handle? And focus more on those things, you know, not what we can't do, but what we can. And there's certainly a lot of things we can do. So I think that part will be critical for us.
What's been the message to Trayshawn with AK and EJ down?
Oh, you know, Coach G is the best, man. He's a stud. You know, his vision and his coaching style is very consistent, you know, and so that, I think, you know, just breeds consistency in the room where, you know, nothing changes. You know, the standard's the standard. He keeps guys moving forward. The expectation is next man up. And so it just doesn't turn into this, you know, you don't give life to the problem. You know, the guys just keep preparing and getting ready. So a lot of credit to Coach G on that one.
We talk a lot about those young guys at running back, but have you seen Daniel and Kevin kind of progress?
Great question. Daniel Hill is you know, if I was picking guys that have had a lot of growth on this football team, Daniel would be one of the biggest ones. Just not only physically how he's transformed his body, but just also his maturity, his understanding preparation, you know, schematically, his knowledge. I mean, you just hear him lining guys up, and intelligent football player. So I just, you know, I think the world of him. He's put a lot of work into being, you know, one of our workhorses. And then Kev, same thing, maturity, you know, knowledge of the offense. He's a bright kid, you know, consistently trying to work on keeping his weight up. He's got good twitch, you know, just trying to be a little more heavy-handed in the run game, which I know he's working on.
This electric nail file was specially designed for people dealing with thick, yellow, or damaged nails. Look at
on the offensive line. That's kind of, you know, it's the same guys running with the one right now. Do you guys have a set five at this point?
Not yet. We're close. We're close. There's still a couple battles going on, you know, and you want to give a guy like Will Sanders, you know, he's had a really good couple days, you know, and he hasn't been able to fully be out here. They had to reevaluate him for a little bit, so he missed a little bit of time. Got back out there, and I really feel like, you know, he had the last couple of days where he got back out there and felt comfortable. It's the first time I've seen Will doing that in a while. So I think there's guys like him, and then, you know, Nick and Javen, and then you know, those guys have really started.
And so he's pretty much breaking down the O-line. The O-line very important. How will the run game look? Like I've been saying, it starts and ends with the run game. You have no run game, nothing else matters.
You know, turn that into a real battle.
What can Will and Nick do to supplant the guys who are up first?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the spot, but, you know, Mal's strengths are Mal's strengths. So I think one of the things that you feel good about him at left guard is communication and physicality in the run game. And, you know, so just making sure they can do those things, number one, because I think they're, you know, all things are pretty equal in pass protection. And then same thing with Nick. Javen is an intelligent player. Nick's just got to execute at a little higher level.
Just two more questions. Circling back to where we started with the big receivers, how does that apply to the tight end room? And do you think we could see an uptick in production from the tight end group as a whole?
I do. I think they've been productive all camp. And I think that's a great question, because to me, it's just we put those guys in positions all the time, like for that exact reason. Okay. Do we want to try to use a big body receiver for this? Or would we rather get, you know, Marshall out there? And those are the kind of questions we're getting answered right now in camp. But the tight end group is one of the absolute bright spots of camp so far.
Next question.
Make it count.
I guess we haven't heard about Ryan Coleman-Williams in a while.
Oh, my God. He caught, 80-yard drive in practice, touchdown to finish, unbelievable catch. Enough said. He's having an unbelievable camp. Lucky to coach the kid. He is just an absolute wonder. And if I was talking about Daniel Hill, the next step is is RCW. Man, he's been a guy that's just been unbelievable. His growth as a person, player, his preparation has been second to nobody on this football team. He comes in here like during the summer, there was no time off. Guys go home for May. He's right here catching balls on the jugs, all the stuff. So just couldn't be more proud of that guy. You bet. You bet. Thanks, y'all.
There we go. There you have it. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, that's pretty much it, man. Where does Bama stand? Where do they go from here? The competition, the scrimmage. A lot will be decided after Thursday's scrimmage. So Keelan Russell better step up. Austin Mack better step up, etc. Linebacker room, all that. So you want to be a starter, set the standard, go win. But very excited about the talent on this team, you know? The talent on this team. Matter of fact, before I get up out of here, I'll break down one more article because I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. People aren't. Certain analysts believe Bama is a sleeper team. 1 second here. So we got Phil Steele speaking on Bama. 1 second. Gonna get to it. Once again, Phil Steele. Why Phil Steele has Alabama as his #1 surprise team for 2026. Let's get into it. Here we go. Alabama hasn't been ranked outside of the preseason top 10 since Nick Saban's second year as a head coach in 2008. College football expert Phil Steele hasn't been able to use the Crimson Tide on his surprise team list in 17 years. So he pounced on the opportunity this summer. Before each season's kickoff, Steele sits down and projects the AP polls preseason top 10. He then chooses not 9 top 10 schools that he thinks can make the 12-team college football playoff and even win a national championship. This year, Alabama is Steele's #1 surprise team. And, you know, everybody's sleeping on Bama. It's cool. Let them sleep on the talent. They don't know nothing about the talent round yonder. Here we go. Everybody's down on Alabama because they got blown out by Georgia. They got blown out by Indiana. Couldn't run the ball in the postseason. Ty Simpson's gone. Still told Bama online. And I figured this is the year to jump on them as a surprise. Picked to finish 6th in the conference at SEC Media Days. Wow, disrespect is crazy, man. For real, you hear me? Here we go. Got them finishing 6th in the SEC. Wow, man. Alabama enters the 2026 season in unfamiliar territory, as many doubt the Crimson Tide, especially at the national level. A year ago, Alabama struggled to run the ball, and it showed in its lopsided postseason losses to Georgia and Indiana. The Tide also had to replace key starters in all 3 phases, including all 4 of its captains from its 2025 team. With 40 new players, there are a lot of questions around UA. But still doesn't agree with all the negativity. He was thrilled to place Alabama atop his list of surprise teams in his preseason magazine, which published its 32nd edition this offseason. I am not down on Alabama, Steele said. I think they do have the talent, and I think they will be much better than people anticipate this year. Oh yeah, big facts, no cap. That's why I have them as my #1 surprise team. Some of the biggest remaining question marks for Alabama are on the offensive side of the ball, particularly at quarterback and the offensive line. Austin Mack and Keelan Russell are battling for the starting job behind center, but still believes whoever comes out on top is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. As far as the offensive line, the Tide welcomed back only 1 starter from last year's team, and that unit will determine the offense's success. And he's definitely on the money with that one. Can you run the ball or no? Because if you can't run the ball, it's over with. You know? And it doesn't matter about what you lost, who you lost, the new faces up front. Can you have the new faces up front ready to play real, grimy, clean, dominant football? Here we go. I love the defense, still said. I've got all 3 units ranked in my top 25. Secondary is number 6 in the country. The defense only allowed 297 yards per game last year. I think they could be even better than that, for sure. So the defense, the secondary is probably the strength this year. And he said the secondary ranked 6. Hell no, I say the secondary ranked number 1. I like the wide receiving corps. Whoever comes out at quarterback, they're inexperienced right now. They're inexperienced right now. But so was Ty Simpson heading into last year, and all of a sudden he's up on the Heisman list late in the year. Also, the special teams, I rate them number 9 in the country. I think they're going to have a much better special teams this season and get back to where they normally were. The 2026 season is year 3 under head coach Kalen DeBoer. The third year is generally when coaches hit their stride. Still said, DeBoer has posted a 20-8 record in his first 2 seasons in Tuscaloosa and made it back to the college football playoff last year. A lot of attention is on his third campaign as the Alabama head coach. Still vividly remembers the first time he spoke with DeBoer after he took the Crimson Tide position. In his initial confusion, I'm like, why are you taking this job? It's a no-win situation. You're going to be compared to Nick Saban, still said. He was just up for the task. Granted, losing 4 games both years is unacceptable for Alabama standards. But Kalen DeBoer is 20-6 against ranked teams in his career. He's done a great job in the big games. I think that now that this is firmly his team, I think he'll get it rolling. I like Kalen DeBoer, and this is year 3. Like I've been saying, it is officially his roster doing it his way. Now, what will his way exactly look like? Will his way be the winning way? That's the main question right now. Since Steele began writing his surprise teams article for the magazine in 2021, there have only been 5 teams not in the AP polls preseason top 10 that went on to win the national title. 4 of them were among Steele's surprise teams. Last year, Oklahoma was his number 1 surprise team, and the Sooners reached the 12-team playoff before losing to Alabama. Texas A&M was his number 2 surprise team in 25, and the Aggies almost made the playoff field for the first time. This fall still has the Crimson Tide favored in 9 of its 12 regular season games. The other 3, Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU, are toss-ups. All 3 are winnable for Alabama. When I look at the talent and the schedule, I think Alabama gets back to the playoff this year, even though they're picked 6 in the SEC, still said. And once they get in the playoff, they've got a shot. Yeah. And that's pretty accurate right there. And shout out Still for giving some props and some love to Alabama, you know. And with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here. Once again, Thursday, pay attention to Thursday. That's when the starters will be named across the board. Here we go. So question is, who wants it? Who going to show up and show out? Everything on the line, man. Everything on the damn line. And guess what? Ain't nobody safe. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell as well. Share this with any and everybody you know for sure. Support the grind, support the channel. Why not? It takes less than 1 second. Big SKOL here, Roll Tide full of pride. Win, lose, or draw, but we come to win. Down at the levee, we going fishing at the levee. Roll Tide full of pride. Here we come. Believe that.